All right, everybody. It is 10 a.m. and we are ready to get started today. Good morning to our fellow commissioners and welcome to everyone else here in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, and the public notice published by the Secretary of State. This in-person open meeting of the Commission on State Emergency Communications is hereby called to order. It is March 25th, 2026, and it is 10 a.m. Our first order of business today is to certify our quorum. And I think outside of Kathy Scro, everybody is here today.
And Muscat.
Oh, and Muscat. There you go. Sorry about that. That being said, for purposes of our order of business here, do I have a motion to excuse those two members today? There's a motion from Scro, a second by Commissioner Mitchell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. The ayes have it. They are excused. The next thing that we get to do as part of that, though, is to welcome our newest member, which is Tim Pierce. Tim went through his training yesterday, so he is officially a member of this commission. We've known Tim for a long time. Lots and lots of years over there at SPAG, so he's very familiar with this program, and we're tickled to have you as the Lieutenant Governor's newest appointment to the commission. Everybody welcome Tim. Tim, you want to say a few words?
I will say a few words. First of all, for those of you I don't know, I hope that I get to know you really quickly. But I really count it an honor to be a part of this group of folks. I was with the Council of Governments for 40 years, and for 20 of that I was the executive director. So I do have some familiarity with 911. And when we started talking about a board or a commission, I said, I know which one I want. And the good Lord just kind of smiled and said, okay, we'll do that. And it worked out. And so I'm really thrilled to be here, James, and look forward to helping the great people in the great state of Texas. So thank you very much.
All right. Well, Tim, we appreciate you being here as well. And from this point on, this little portion of the dice here between Ryan, Henry, and Tim, we're just going to refer to as the 806. I guess we could move Clint a little further over, and then it could be an extended version of the 806, but there you go. We're pleased to have you. Thank you. All right. Now that we've gone through that, we'll talk about future meeting dates. Kenny?
Yes, sir. We have May 27th locked in, and I believe we're looking at July 29th as a possible date. Karen should be working with y'all to confirm that date. So just please keep an eye on any emails from her and respond at your earliest convenience.
One thing we might think about too in that regard, so we're going through our executive director search process, and so our next meeting would be the end of May, then that next meeting is in July. I think maybe also just tentatively if we could have staff look at room availability, because that's always the big key down here, maybe for the end of April and the end of June in there. That just gives us a little more wiggle room in case we need to reschedule something for later on. And then we can start sharing that availability. We may or may not have a meeting at that time, but that just kind of keeps the process moving a little bit. So if y'all wouldn't mind looking at that, we'd appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
All right. At this time, we'll go ahead and open up the public comment section of our agenda. Remember, this is an open meeting, and if anyone wishes to comment on a particular agenda item, you can do so by indicating that you wish to speak, stating your name and being recognized to speak. You can speak at this time, or if you would prefer, you can wait till that agenda item is called. Is there any public comment at this time? There being none, then we will move on to the next item, and that comes over to some recognitions with our agency report. So, Kenny?
Yeah, and I'm going to lean on you to assist me here, but we do have in the room today our outgoing executive director, Andrew Friedrichs, and so I think we wanted to take this opportunity today to express our appreciation for his service and leadership.
There you go. All right. Well, if you'll notice, for anybody here in the audience today, we actually had two items. We've decided that they're just too big to do them both on the same day. Plus, the other thing is Kathy couldn't be with us today. This is a little preemptive. Kathy is not running for mayor of Portland again. And because of that, at some point, her term will end and she'll be replaced. And we don't know exactly when that will happen. She is in office until May at some point. But then at some point, the governor's office will replace her. And not knowing our meeting schedule and when that all occurs, we wanted to be thinking along those lines. Today, her husband had a medical issue, so they're out of pocket today, and we're all thinking about them. I anticipate we'll have her for a little while, and so that'll be good. But just FYI, that's what's going on there. And so at some point, she'll be departing, and we'll miss her. We've had a lot of good times with Kathy. And but that being said, that brings us back to the number one issue, which is Andrew over there. And we wanted to do something. I mean, he tried to take out of here and go back to the governor's office like a thief in the night, and just leave us. And we didn't want it to work like that. So we wanted to have some recognition of Andrew and his efforts. You've been great over these last couple of years. We miss you. I got a little choked up when you told me. But you've got bigger and better things ahead of you, and you're in a position where you still get to work with us. And so it's a great relationship continuing there. But at this time, before we present anything, I would just open it up to other commission members for anything you would like to say.
Andrew, I just want to thank you for your service. I hadn't been here very long, and you have certainly been a wonderful director, and we thank you for all that you do, and don't forget about us over here.
Andrew, I can't even see you. There you are. Okay, I see you now. You stood out early on in the interview process, and we just recognized you as somebody that had a lot going for them, and a bright future ahead of himself. And you certainly followed up. You showed us that here once you came on board, and so I appreciate everything, and just wish you best of luck in all your future endeavors.
Andrew, thanks again for stepping up and following a legacy. Not easy to do, but you came in and you did that in tremendous fashion. I'm missing the blue suit and the gold ties. And then finally, from one military guy to another, well done.
Andrew, you came in and just hit the ground running and just did a fine job for the commission, and I'm sad that you're not going to be able to continue. But as Chip and these other folks have mentioned, I think you're going to go and do even greater things in the future, and so we look forward to watching that happen. So thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, Andrew, I'm not going to take it personally that I just joined and you leave. So, the first day I met you, and I really appreciated all your help and said, wow, this is a great guy. I really enjoy. But I'm thankful that I got to know you, and I'm grateful to be able to stay in touch going forward. So thank you for everything.
Gosh, I get to make two speeches. So Andrew, we do know each other through COGS, through the Council of Governments. He was a breath of fresh air to meet him and to work with him in the time that we got to do that. And again, it's already been said. I don't want to repeat it too much, but your professionalism. By the way, he doesn't act like someone that works for the government. Isn't that cool? I'm just going to stop right there. That's pretty good. He doesn't act like somebody who works for the government. He cares about people, and thank you for doing that. Appreciate it.
Andrew, I can't top any of that, but it's been great working with you. Wish you the very best back at the governor's office, and look forward to hopefully working with you again in the future.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew, for your service here. You've done a fabulous job, and I know we'll be working together again. I'm sure at my job at DIR, we'll cross paths. So looking forward to it. Congratulations.
congratulations and good luck from the PUC.
Yeah, he's back over at the governor's office, so y'all won't get plug in. This is your time to do it. I'm just saying. We're not the only ones needing things. All right, well, we appreciate that. Andrew, as is normal with these types of things, we do have the requisite standardized, premeditated form here of your appreciation plaque. But I felt a little bad about that because you've done a really great job over the last couple of years. And so we went and got you a little something else for the first time in CSEC history, an actual Wood Award that we'd like to present to you today and take a picture with you and wish you well on your way out. But first, I'll give you the opportunity if you want to say something.
Thank you. Andrew Friedrichs, private citizen. I appreciate everyone's kind words. That was very touching. I started here just over 2 years ago and had no plan to leave the agency anytime soon. It's a great organization. It's a great agency. The board members, y'all are great. But most importantly, it's the people that work here. It's a great team. Everybody's dedicated to the mission and the vision of the agency. And show up every day to do good work for the state of Texas. So, like I said, I had full intent and purposes of staying longer, but sometimes you get called to do something else, and it's just as equally hard to say no sometimes. So I appreciate everyone's kind words.
All right, Andrew, again, thank you. We really do appreciate you. And part of the reason that we spend time on this is because we really appreciate everybody who works here. And we just want to make sure that when we have those opportunities to recognize that service, y'all all know it. So thank y'all all again. And thank you, Andrew. All right, with that being said, we're going to move on in our agenda to 2 weeks of special recognition. And the first is National Poison Prevention Week. March 15th through the 21st. Kenny, Heather?
Each year, the third week of March is dedicated to raising awareness on poison prevention. The Texas Poison Control Network works to highlight the dangers of poisonings for people of all ages and to promote safer homes and businesses. This year, the network hosted 2 contests for students in Texas. Winners from each region were advanced to a statewide contest. Special thank you to our judges this year, Kenny, Kenneth Mays, Kim Champagne, Kimber Snoddy, and Jim Johnson. After careful consideration, they selected Sophia Salas of the West Texas Poison Region for her poster entry, and Jacob Howell of the South Texas Poison Region for his video entry. An award and certificate is being provided to each of the winners. So congratulations to them. And then on the next agenda item, next month, we will celebrate National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week from April 12th through 18th. Telecommunicators are the unseen first responders and truly the first responders, helping save lives every day during emergencies. Throughout Texas, more than 4,000 professionals answer the call day in and day out. These individuals must continuously adjust to the constantly changing emergency response ecosystem while maintaining the highest ethical and professional standards in serving an ever-demanding population. Each year, the second full week in April is set aside to raise awareness and honor their contributions. I encourage everyone to reach out to their local PSAP next month to thank these individuals for their efforts. We did reach out to the governor's office for proclamations for both weeks, and those are included in the notebook.
Okay. Thank you on that, Heather. Just real quickly on that, I think you said there was a video and a piece of artwork they did.
That is correct.
Can y'all email those around to everybody?
Absolutely,
I think
we
that
will
would
do
be
that.
fun for people to get to see those.
Yes.
We appreciate that. And I'd like to end your governor's proclamation on the 2nd with Telecommunicators Award Week coming up. And particularly, I mean, I'm sitting here between Tim and Chip here, so none of this is a surprise to them, but I would call out that second paragraph in there. More than 4,000 public safety telecommunicators working in 600 emergency 911 call centers. That's a pretty impressive number, and I think that's one that we should highlight a little bit. And to your point, I think it would be great for any of us that have that opportunity. It's going to be easy for you to reach out to yours, Chip. I mean, that's almost kind of cheating, really. But for the rest of us, I think that's something we should all make an attempt to do. So, all right. Super. We appreciate that, Heather. All right. Well, that moves us on down to our next agenda item, which is our Appropriation 2026 financial update. And we've got Kenny up again.
Heather got to do the fun ones. But and we're without Lorraine, which you probably noticed why I'm speaking. I'm a little bit outside of my comfort zone as the lawyer here trying to talk about numbers, but I'm going to do my best. I'm not going to go too far in depth. We're on page 7 of the notebook, by the way. And I'm not going to go too far in depth, mostly because I can't. But I do, as we are about halfway through the year now, 50% through the year. We have revenue up top left, total 911 service fee revenue as compared to the CPA's biennial revenue estimate. And the top right, we have the total equalization surcharge revenue compared to that estimate. You'll see there that we are at 44% and 46% respectively on those two numbers. I did look back at last year's numbers. We are at 51.2 and 43.6. So we're in the same neighborhood. Lorraine didn't seem to have any concerns with these. She would love to be here, but obviously couldn't. But she would be happy to answer any questions on any of this stuff. Heather and I can do our best to answer questions as well, but I would defer to the expert. In the middle, we have our expenditures for those three budget categories there, and these reflect our obligations for the end of the year, not necessarily already expended, but will be expended, and then those available funds in each of those categories. And then the bottom of that, page 7, we have our fund balances. And then you can turn to page 8. We have additional numbers, and now we're getting way beyond what I can appreciate from these numbers, but these are the same updates you see at each meeting. So you can compare these to the previous one to see how those have changed, and direct any softball questions to Heather and me and any more difficult questions to Lorraine. That's an informational item, by the way.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah.
I thought about really hammering on we're at 50% of the year and we're not at 50% of revenues. And I know y'all always say, oh, it's just behind. But in deference, since we've already lost one staff member back to the governor's office, I felt like maybe we should hold up today and try to keep Kenny around a little longer, not try to run off Heather. So
We appreciate your grace there.
This is desperation, buddy. It's pure desperation on my part. All right. Well, if there's no other questions, we'll go on to the next agenda item. And good job, by the way, Kenny. Not many lawyers would have composed themselves as well under a financial report as you just did.
Doing my best.
Unless it was about billable hours.
Right.
Yeah, exactly, Tim. Consideration of our revised prepaid wireless 911 fee distribution percentages. Oh my God, Kenny, you put yourself down on this one again.
I know it. I'm a glutton for punishment, I guess. Once again, filling in for Lorraine, who couldn't be here today. This one is something that you see once a year. This is an annual process for us, so it should be familiar to most of y'all. Tim, new for you on this side of it, but you've seen it on the other side. So statute requires us to distribute to each ECD that does not participate in the state system a portion of the prepaid wireless 911 fee money that bears the same proportion to the total amount collected that the population of their area served bears to the state. And then the remaining funds get deposited to the 911 service fee account. We have a rule in Chapter 252 that says within 90 days of the state demographer publishing their newest estimate, we will provide that estimate to the 911 entities with our proposed proportionate distribution to allow them to provide comments back to us. So we got the estimate in November, provided that to the entities, requested comments. We have worked through all comments except for one that's outstanding. That outstanding comment is due to information we're requesting from the demographer. We've had a little bit of back and forth with them trying to get additional info. It could change the distribution percentages very slightly for two entities. In the event that happens, we would come back for an additional vote from the commission. There was a specific city that was their estimate didn't account for which county. It was a city that's split by two counties. So anyway, we are working through that. But we have that proposed distribution percentage on page 11 through 13, I believe, for you. And I would recommend approval of those figures for distributing wireless and prepaid wireless service fees after March 25th, 2026. And we would be happy to answer any questions you have on that subject.
Look there. Kenny's asking for questions again.
Excuse me. You have the current allocation,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have proposed allocation.
Yes, sir.
And those numbers are different.
Yes, sir.
How do you come to the difference? What's the difference?
So that's based on the population changes from last year, I believe. Yeah. So we have the current allocation of what we've been using based on the figures from the previous estimate. We got the updated estimate in November, and then this is our proposed allocation based on that numbers. The back and forth we have with any districts that have questions is if there is some kind of population split that the demographer's information does not bear out. And in that instance, then you have two entities who have to come to a resolution on where.
Well, that being said, we do have this out here, and this will be an opportunity for someone new to make a motion for the first time ever.
I would make my first official motion.
All right, there we go. We've got a motion from Tim Pierce to approve the wireless distribution changes.
I'll second it.
Second from Chip. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. The ayes have it. All right, see, good job. Unanimous vote. All right, we're going to move on to the next item, number 4, consideration of changes to revised performance measures for the agency strategic plan for fiscal years 2027 through 2031. We're going to go to Heather for that.
In March, the Legislative Working Group was established for the FY 28-29 state planning cycle. The Legislative Working Group will assist the Commission staff in developing and submitting the agency strategic plan, the legislative appropriation request, and the strategic plan for statewide 911 service, all due this summer. Commission staff has drafted specific revisions to the identified performance measures. There are currently 7 measures for 911, with 2 being key performance measures listed in our appropriation bill pattern. The request today is for the removal of 1 performance measure, being the percentage of RPC showing improvement in overall risk. It's our compliance measure. While this measure is ongoing, it doesn't have a specified end date or a goal to achieve. The agency has consistently achieved 100% performance. I've been able to research back to 2012. The target has been missed only once in this time period due to a specific issue with a single RPC. In recent years, the agency has also implemented a program policy statement which outlines a comprehensive compliance framework. Considering our performance record, our policy, and our compliance program at the agency, we have sufficient documentation to support the removal of this measure. No changes are being proposed to the current poison control performance measures, and no changes are being proposed to the agency's budget structure. There is in the notebook the changes listed to the performance measure, but it's simply struck through since we're requesting to remove it. Staff recommends Commission approval of the proposed changes to the CSEC performance measures for 28-29 and request approval to submit the proposed changes to the Governor's Office and the Legislative Budget Board for consideration by the due date of March 27th, 2026, which is Friday. Any questions?
Just a quick comment, Heather, based on our discussions yesterday. This doesn't mean that it's no longer an official performance measure, but the performance measure doesn't go away. You're still going to monitor.
Absolutely. We just wouldn't, if this is approved by the Commission and then we submit it to the LBB and it's approved by them, we wouldn't report this to the Legislative Budget Board anymore. We would continue all the activities that we still do at the agency.
We actually have this agenda item in our report a little further back where we look at that performance monitoring. That's where we have the RPCs that are low, moderate, or high. Most of them are low. So there's a couple of them that are moderate. Going back to the time frame you talked about, that one was high. And they had some issues there. But essentially what it is we have a performance measure in our appropriations deal that always shows 100%. And it's just duplicative. It's not really necessary. And it really doesn't align back to anything that we're particularly funded for, what the funding is really attached to. So it was just an idea of simplification.
Any further questions?
Well, Sawyer move for approval.
Sawyer makes motion to approve. Is there a second?
Washington second.
Washington seconds. There's motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. The ayes have it. Another unanimous pass out there. All right, on to number 5, the Next Generation 911 Service Fund Federal Grant Program Update. Noah?
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, I'm Noah Gilliam, the Director of Contracts and Purchasing at CSEC. If you'll direct your attention to page 18 through 22, I'm happy to say that we are nearly complete with the SB8 program. We're right on track. Currently, we're at $127.6 million expended and reimbursed. That represents about 85% expended. We're about 84% of the time through, so we're still ahead of the game there. You'll notice right off the bat that total allocated amount has dropped from the $150 million. That is due to a reconciliation that Finance and myself performed in response to the ongoing efforts of Colin Resnick at the Governor's Office. In our monitoring, we did discover a few items that needed to be removed from our personnel expenses. So that amount is currently available for our programs department to reallocate out to the RPC program. We are holding on that for now because there might be additional funds that may come from districts as we are continuing to have conversations with them for folks who are either low expenditures or nearly complete with their expenditures and are not slated to expend all of the funds that were allocated to them. So that number may grow, but it's currently around $75,000, not too much. But just wanted to point that out for y'all, just so because it's kind of glaring there that we did drop. With that, I would like to give a report of where we currently sit as far as closeouts. We are in the process of closing folks out on the program. We have 10 emergency communications districts who have officially closed out. That is with the addition from the last report of Cameron County and Montgomery County. Montgomery County was pending closeout, and then we have now officially closed them out. Good job, Jip. Thanks so much for your help with that. As well, we have 8 municipal communications districts that are closed out. Sherman and University Park both moved from pending closeout to closeout. And we still have the city of Corpus pending closeout. We're trying to confirm with them the installation and testing of equipment. It's slated to be sometime soon. I believe the new estimate is around the summertime in July. And the RPCs, we're waiting to close the RPCs out at the end of the program, just due to some shifts that may occur. As what I've just mentioned, there could be some funds that will be reallocated to spend down the funds to hopefully 100%. I'm still confident that we will do that. And then the only other thing is the city of Portland was scheduled to send us reimbursement in the month of March. We did not receive that. We actually received word that there's been a slight delay in us receiving the paperwork for that. It's been pushed back to June. Again, I believe it has to do with the installation of equipment. We've found that there's been a pattern. AT&T is trying to get to everybody. Everybody's on the schedule. It's just there's sometimes things come up. There's been delays, but we have every confidence that we'll be able to complete all of the activities before the end of the performance period. And with that, this information is informational only, but I will stand ready for questions if you have them.
Any questions for Noah? I do have one on the personnel items that you said that came back on the reconciliation. What would those have been?
So there were a few items early on back in 2023 prior to my involvement with the program that we, through the monitoring processes of ConResnick, had identified that we thought we had attributed to the grant, but in actuality we had not, but we did report it as such to the governor's office. And so that was, again, only about $75,000 worth of that total. So we did reduce the total allocation to personnel down by that amount. As soon as I took over into this position, we made sure that certain processes were being completed properly. The process is that we would spend state money and then go back and attribute the federal money to those funds once we've spent it out. And so there were just a few items back in early in the program, 22, 23, that essentially we only spent state funds and we never actually attributed the federal funds to, but we reported it to the governor's office that we'd had. And so we were just going back saying, actually, we actually didn't actually spend this with federal money for this. We're just coming back and saying, our bad. We just need to reduce this allocation back. Nothing, no fraud or anything like that. We just didn't cover it with the federal money as we thought.
But now, based on that pull down, we have.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any other questions?
Noah, you feel comfortable with where you're at? These ones that are not closed out already, and the ones that are?
Yes, sir. We've had a pretty large reimbursement. Gulf Coast sent us about $3.3 million in reimbursement requests. So there's a lot of these districts out there. A lot of them are the cities where they're right at the end, and they're going to do an all and done type of situation. So they may show zero, but then we'll get a reimbursement for the full amount. So we've been in constant communication with these cities, and so we have every confidence that we'll be able to spend those by the end.
Good deal.
Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you, Noah. We'll move on to our next item, which is the 911 service program. And our first item there is final RPC compliance assessments for fiscal year 2025, something we were just talking about earlier. Kimber?
Good morning. For the record, my name is Kimber Snoddy, and I am one of the 911 program managers here. We are on page 23 of your notebooks for the fiscal year 2025 annual compliance report. Each fiscal year, the commission concludes its monitoring of the regional planning commissions with the fiscal year end compliance assessment. Monitoring activities provide the commission with the information and data necessary to best assist the RPCs in implementing and strengthening the 911 system in Texas. Of the 19 RPCs, 14 had an initial low risk assessment, 3 had an initial moderate risk assessment, and 2 had an initial high risk assessment. 100% of the RPCs showed improvement and lowered their final risk assessment scoring, and you can see these scores on page 24. Commission staff recommends the commission accept and approve the final FY25 compliance risk assessments for each RPC as provided in this report. I'm here for questions.
Any questions for Kimber? If there's not, then we would entertain a motion to approve the compliance risk assessments. Commissioner Mitchell makes a motion. Is there a second?
Henry, second.
There's a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. The ayes have it. All right. Thank you, Kimber.
Thank you.
And now we will move on to poison control with the program policy statement, or the PPP, or oh my God, the PPS. Consider for repeal PPS 101 for RPC unexpended balance roll forward. Jim?
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, my name is James Johnson. I'm the Poison Control Program Manager. If you'll please turn to page 25 of your notebook. Starting late last year, CSEC and the RPCCs began discussing utility of the UB process and the distribution of the workloads in accordance with the GAA as well as Government Code 403071. Currently, the roll forward process requires unexpended grant funds from year one of the biennium to be rolled forward into year two. Grant funds, this reduction of year one and the appropriate increase of the year two grant funds requires all contracts, grant amendments, agreements between the poison centers and the host institutions of the poison center, as well as adjustments to the grant management system for each of the affected RPCCs. In these processes, the total dollar amount in the grant management for each RPC neither increases or decreases. So I just wanted to point that out. So there's no new monies coming in or going out. Commission staff believe that by repealing PPS 101 would have the practical effect of allowing greater flexibility for the RPCCs to utilize the grant funds. Commission staff recommend that the Commission vote to approve the repeal of PPS 101, Regional Poison Control Center's unexpended balance roll forward, subject to your questions.
Any questions for Jim? Tim will know if that really works.
Yes.
Well, there you go. Then that means we will have repealed, I think it's 4 PPSs within the last 6 months. There won't be anything left in that book. All right. Is there any questions for Jim? If there's not, we would entertain a motion to approve eliminating that PPS.
Van Steenberg will make that motion.
All right. There's a motion. Is there a second? You nearly got your second one of the deal, but he beat you to it. All right. There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. The ayes have it. All right. Our last agenda item. Why'd y'all put me on here? Executive Director search. After our last, meeting, which by the way was our first fully Zoomed meeting. in CSEC history. Great accomplishment there. Everybody was on. Everybody was listening, talking, had your picture up. It was great. We may have to try that again sometime. We'll have to wait till Grace has that baby. We don't want to stress her out now. But we did a good job there. We did delegate authority to our working group, our executive director search working group. Good, Kenny. And that group has been going through applications that we've received thus far. Today, we're going to be having some interviews as well. We're continuing to go through that process. And I just wanted to let y'all know that that is up and working. Our plan is at some point we will have some applicants that we have gone through and funneled down from that stream to bring forward to this commission for full interviews, just like we did last time, and go forward. So I want to let you know that that is ongoing and we're making some progress, and we expect there'll be more to report back to you shortly. But just to leave it at that, unless any of you have any particular questions. Or unless Andrew back there is saying he might not really be that happy in the governor's office, like to come back. I don't know. That probably wasn't appropriate, was it, Kenny?
We'll allow it.
All right. Well, that being said, if there are no questions on that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Henry motion.
There's a motion by Ryan Henry. Is there a second? All right. It's 10:42. All those in favor of adjourning this meeting of the State Commission on Emergency Communications say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. The ayes have it. We are